Hey guys, Devin, Zander here, and welcome to the smallest webcam feed ever. I'm sure I look like a tiny ant in the top corner of this video. Not by choice, but because some of these slides, such as this final one here, have a lot of text on it, and if I were to, have a bigger webcam, you'd miss some of the text. So now you get to just imagine me talking like a little ant, like, "Hey guys, it's Devin, and today we're covering the 6 common mistakes that keep you from being successful with jewelry." So that's what an ant would sound like in my mind. I don't know, but like I said, let's just get into it. A lot of you are selling jewelry. It is definitely what we recommend if you're a beginner right now. It is the easiest way to get started with e-commerce and start making some quick money. Now, these are what we're going to be covering today are the 6 common mistakes that are keeping you from being successful with jewelry. Now, we have a it's kind of like a one-on-one / group coaching program. And everything in this list is something that I've seen these people do in our coaching program, our group coaching program, and that we've had to help them overcome so they can be successful. And as a result of that, we have students like Tiffany who have made up to $30,000 in a single day, just months after starting their online business. So I figured what we would do is go over the 6 common mistakes that I see our coaching students make, give them to everybody, and you can avoid these mistakes at all costs so you can just make more money and not waste any money, because literally nothing is worse than wasting money except maybe like being stuck in traffic or stubbing your toe, things like that, but wasting money is right up there with stubbing your toe, so it's pretty bad. So without further ado, let's get into the 6 common mistakes that are keeping you, that's Ant Me, from being successful with jewelry. Sorry, I'm an idiot. So really quickly, we'll go through an overview of the mistakes, and these are in no particular order of worst offender, and I'm not even going to go through them in the slides in the same order that you see listed here. So if you are, anal, yes, it might piss you off, and I'm so sorry about that, but know that I do it because I love you and I like to piss you off. So an overview of the mistakes is your text on your message card is too small. Your Facebook ad image isn't readable. And don't worry, we're going to go through these one by one, so it'll all make sense. Your jewelry selection is wrong, aka the piece of jewelry you use doesn't match the recipient who will receive it. Your ad targeting is wrong. Your ad messaging is wrong. And last, but ladies and gentlemen, dogs, cats, deer, you're using too much text in your message card. So those are the 6 mistakes that I see over and over and over and over again. And it's not to say that a lot of these are going to ruin everything. It's quite possible that some of these designs, even if they make these mistakes, could work, but you're significantly lowering your chances of it working and just overcomplicating the process and making your stuff less likely to succeed. So why not avoid these mistakes at all costs? Number 1, this is actually 2. I found a design that breaks 2 of the cardinal sins. So we'll go through this design real quick. But the issues here is your text is too small, plus you have too much text. So when you see this, it's like, oh God, holy shit. There's so much text, it's like your ADHD triggers start going off and you're like, oh my God, it's a lot of work to read that. And it's, I can't do this, right? And it just really scares a lot of people off. Now, the biggest thing with too much text and what we like to see is take this message, and your first draft can look like this, right? It can look like this, where it's a bunch of text. And what Matt and I like to do is what we call wordsmithing, and I think Stephen King does this as well, and a lot of copywriters do it. If you're familiar with copywriting, it's people who write sales messages. Is you write something that's really long at first, not necessarily because you meant to write something that's long. It's just that you were trying to convey a message, and it felt like that's everything you had to write to convey everything you wanted. So then you end up with a really long message like this. Welcome. I'm not even going to read it to you. It is so freaking long. And because it's so long, it forced them to have really small text. And guess what? When text is really small, you have to get close to your screen to read it and strain your eyes. And then it's just making all these barriers to buying, right? It's making it more and more and more and more difficult for people to buy. But what we like to do when we end up with a long piece of text like this is you just take 10, 15, 20 minutes and you start removing one word at a time without diluting the message. So, we just go there. We say, welcome to the greatest journey of your life. Your brand new life as a mother is about to begin. So, right, in that second sentence, we can remove words from it without losing the same meaning, right? So your brand new life as a mother is about to begin. You could say your new life as a mom is beginning, right? and that removes a ton of the words, but it doesn't lose the message. So when you have too much text like this, but you're in love with the card, you're in love with the message, you think it's just so amazing, I want to challenge you to spend 10, 15, 20 minutes to go through the text and just start removing words. See how much you can remove without diluting or losing your original message, okay? And a lot of times, like this one, you can cut it in by 50%, like at least 30%, right? And with that, it makes it a lot easier to read. It makes people less likely to get scared and click away. And I'll go over some of the symptoms of what happens when you have this much text and it's so small in just a second. Now, I'm not saying this is a bad design. I did find this particular design on Etsy, and it seemed to be doing pretty well. But I could never see this working in a Facebook ad. And this right here is mostly about ads. So I really just couldn't see this working in a Facebook ad. And we'll cover why in a second as well. But so mistake number one, and it's actually two mistakes that I combined because I found the perfect image, is your text is too small and you're including too much text. And the side effects of these are people are super ADHD. So when they see something this much, think about this. Like when you receive a long email with huge blocks of text, or you want to read an article and it's huge blocks of text, or you receive a text message and it's just a huge block of text, you're like, oh my God, I don't want to read this. Couldn't you just break it down into a sentence? Jeez, why are you doing this to me, right? I'm not going to read this. So when people are super ADHD, it makes them just like this right here, this much text at once. They're just like, no thanks. The pleasure of reading this outweighs the pain of reading it, right? Or no, opposite way around. It's too painful to read it. And the possible reward I get from reading this just isn't there. So ADHD is like fires and says, nope, go do something else. Get your dopamine, get your reward now. And it's sad that our attention spans are that low, but they just are. And another issue is it makes the brain work harder because the text is so small and because there's so much text. It's a lot more difficult for people's brains to process, and they're just like, whatever, no thanks. This is too much work, and people are pretty lazy. And when you add a lot of text like this, it's really like stuffing the message. It's making the message too broad. Like there's too many things in a single message. If you're talking to everyone, you're talking to no one, right? Less is more. So if you can say as little as possible with the most powerful messages possible, that is like the ultimate win. Less is more, right? If you can like some of the most important things or messages, and like, let's look at this one on my homepage here. Fear is the slow death, right? Like that is so powerful. Think about it. I could say every single day that you're living in fear, you're dying a little bit more inside because you're not doing everything and this and that, right? Or I could just say fear is the slow death. Like that's powerful. Less is more. It's just difficult to read, right? You see all this when you have a ton of text, it forces it to be small, and then you have to like just really get close to the screen to read it. You have to squint. It's really just a pain in the ass. I'm not going to lie. And if I feel that way, trust me, so do your customers. And when you're advertising in Facebook, take a look at that. It's like people are scrolling in their feed. They see this and they're like, oh my fuck, geez, I'm not reading that. That's way too much, right? And this brings us to our next mistake right here. And this image was usable here as well. But the next mistake, mistake number 3, we just covered 1 and 2, which is your text is too small and too much text. Mistake number 3 is your Facebook ad isn't readable. And there's multiple ways that people do this. It's either by putting way too much text on a design, which makes it impossible to read, or by using an image that isn't a close-up of the design and text itself with backgrounds and stuff like that. That also makes it difficult to read. Now, we have to remember here, guys, what is selling is not the jewelry. A lot of people, when they do designs like this or they use ad images like this, they think it's because it makes the jewelry look good. And I'm not going to lie, it does. But with print on demand, with t-shirts, with the jewelry, the message cards, with hoodies, with hats, with all the stuff we do, it's never about the jewelry. It's never about the shirt. People aren't buying our print on demand shirts because they're like, oh, that's a really nice fabric, or oh man, that cut, would look really good on me, like people do with fashion shirts. It's different. People are buying this because of the message. And with that, what we want is we want our message to be front and center, just like this. Nice, easy to read, not too much text. It's quick. Your brain can process it. It's easy to remember, and it's impactful, It's easy to read. It's never about the jewelry. It's always about the message. The jewelry, what does the jewelry do? The jewelry justifies the price. There's no way you could charge $60 for a message card, right? You just can't, because people can go to the store and they can buy one for $3 from Hallmark, right? But when you put the jewelry on there, now all of a sudden it justifies the price. The jewelry is an afterthought. People, when they buy these message cards, are doing it because they want to show their love, their gratitude, their appreciation. They want to express feelings, and they're using the messages and the designs you put on that card to express the feelings, right? That's what it's all about. And the jewelry, that's just so you can justify the price, okay? People want, and again, like a lot of the times these are given as gifts for birthdays, graduations, Christmas, Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, right? People don't want to, they want to do a little bit more than a card. People love giving cards because it's a way to, express something, to really express yourself and how you feel about someone. And then when you add jewelry to it, it makes it more impactful. And that really puts them over the edge. But the message card is what does all the heavy lifting. And then the jewelry justifies the price. So you want to make sure your Facebook ads are readable. It's so important that the message card and the design is readable. The most important part is the message itself, okay? If people can't read the message, you're screwed. It's not going to work, okay? So remember that. It's important that your text isn't too small, okay? It's important that you don't use too much text, and it's important that your ad is readable. Boom. So that's the first three. The fourth mistake is your jewelry selection is wrong. So you may remember in this slide, 2 slides ago, we had this little dad design. Now, what is wrong with this design? Let's read it. Dad, you are forever in my heart, forever in my life, forever with me. Though far from my sight, you are forever. Now, the message itself isn't bad. So what's wrong with this? I'll give you guys 5 seconds, and I'll do a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, did you get it? Yes. You're not going to buy your dad a freaking message card that has a heart with a little gem in it. Dad doesn't give a fuck about that. He doesn't. He's not going to wear that. His friends will make fun of them. His dad will make fun of him. His brothers will make fun of him. Dad is not going to wear that. The only time this would ever work is if you somehow sold this to a 3-year-old to give to her dad, because a son wouldn't get this for his dad. So, a little girl, and then it's cute because it's from his daughter. But 3-year-olds don't have money, and mommy is not going to buy this for the 3-year-old. So you always want to make sure that the jewelry selection and the design of the card itself matches the target recipient. Dad, you don't buy him a message card that has flowers and butterflies on it. You don't use a heart and like a rhinestone or something, right? You just don't do that, okay? It's got to be manly. You use the cross, you use the chain, you use the watch when you're selling to dad, okay? Not the heart. Now, I know that this one may seem obvious, but people get it wrong all the time, trust me. And I do not want you to be one of those people. So let's get it right. Let's avoid this. Let's recap so far. You don't want your text to be too small. You don't want to use too much text. You want to ensure that your Facebook ad is readable. Remember, you see this in the news feed. You're like, oh, hell no, I ain't reading that shit, boy, right? That's not happening, okay? And then we want to ensure that our jewelry plus our card design match the target recipient. Next, your ad targeting is wrong, okay? And this one's pretty simple, but I see it happening time and time again. When you target on Facebook, remember to target whoever the necklace is from, okay? You're not selling it to the end user. It's going to be a gift, right? So if it's from dad to mom, you better target dad on Facebook, not mom. We're selling gifts. Do not try to sell the necklace to the recipient. And this is an easy slip of mind for a lot of people. I think the reason some people make this mistake is because they're used to selling traditional print-on-demand products, where when you sell the t-shirt and the hoodie, whoever you sell it to is the one that's wearing it, right? But not in this case. You're selling it to whoever is giving it as a gift. So let's go through a quick example of targeting that is a necklace from dad, who is our target buyer. Remember, it's from dad. Whoever it's from is the target buyer. That's who we're selling to. And it's to daughter, recipient. Now, we talk to the daughter on the card, right? It talks about, dear daughter, I love you. You're so beautiful, blah, 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 right? That's what the recipient is, who the card is about, and we sell it to whoever it's from. So Facebook targeting, really simple, to a target buyer, from dad to daughter. Obviously, we want to target male, okay? Doesn't make sense to target a female ever if it's from dad, just doesn't. 25 plus. And the reason we want to change our age here is because they need to be old enough to have a daughter that will appreciate this card. If you're selling a message card with jewelry, the kid needs to be able to read, right? If they can't read, it's going to be like, eh. So, you want them to at least be 5 or 6. So you want the dad to most likely be in the age range of someone who can even buy that card for their daughter, right? We're not going to target 17-year-olds and be like, why is nobody in the 17 to 21-year-old bracket buying? Well, it's because their kid is still pooping their pants and can't read. I almost said the shit word. So, of course they're not going to buy it. If their baby's too busy pooping, they're going to put poop on the message card and on the jewelry. It's going to ruin it. So we need to ensure that the target recipient is old enough, which means we need to target males that are at least 25 years old. We want to target United States or Europe now that Shine On is fulfilling in Europe. They have a new factory in Amsterdam. And then we just want to make sure they're a parent. Okay, so we want to target that. It's really simple stuff. Now, nice and easy. Now, that is the 5th mistake I see people making. The 6th and final one is your ad messaging itself is wrong. And what I mean is the ad text and who you're talking to and what message you're giving in your ad copy. So another huge mistake I see new sellers making when selling jewelry is talking to the wrong person inside of their ad copy. And again, I think this goes back to the traditional print-on-demand selling shirts, hoodies, and things like that, where whoever you're targeting with the Facebook ad is the same person who buys and wears the product a lot of the time. Now, obviously, there's gifts as well, but a lot of the time, it's going to be the person who's wearing the product. So let's go back to our last message card, which is from dad, who is our target buyer. Remember, whoever it's from is who we want to buy the product, and it's to daughter, who is the recipient of the product. And a lot of times in ads, people will talk about the jewelry, which only justifies the price. Remember, it doesn't make the sale or the card itself. So they're like, look at this beautiful piece of jewelry, blah, 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 blah. Or, your daughter is going to love this card, or you're going to love this card, something like that. It just doesn't make sense. But what your goal should be with your ad is to talk about the issue you're solving for your target buyer. Now, whether you know it or not, you're selling this card to a dad, and that dad has a problem. He's got a daughter whose birthday is coming up, Valentine's Day is coming up, her graduation is coming up, Christmas is coming up, some other day is coming up, right? And he wants to get her a gift, and he wants to express his love for her. Now, his problem is he hasn't quite figured out how to express that love, or how to show her that he cares, show her that daddy loves her, that daddy cares about her, that daddy is proud of her, right? Your goal is to convey those emotions and those feelings in your ad copy. So when you're writing an ad, it needs to discuss things like, this is the perfect gift for your princess. Show her that you really do care. Show her that you understand her. Make this Valentine's Day the best ever. Make, her graduation one that she'll remember forever. The perfect words for the perfect girl, the perfect message for the perfect girl, right? So his problem is he wants to express feelings for his daughter. And, men don't really know how. So by providing them that message card, by saying the perfect words for them, by saying what he wants to say and expressing it in a beautiful way with a nice piece of jewelry, you really are solving an issue and making people happy. It's a really noble thing, and that's why print-on-demand jewelry is so great. But when you're writing your ads, just make sure you're writing to the right person, which is the dad in this case, right? And you need to help him. The way you sell him is by telling him, hey, we can help you solve your issue, right? You want to say something to your daughter. You want to tell her you love her. This is the perfect way to do it. So that's what you want to accomplish with your ads. So let's go over one more time. We'll just recap. All the mistakes is your text is too small or you have too much text. A lot of those times, those go hand in hand because the reason your text is so small is because you're trying to cram way too much text into it. And you can fix this by wordsmithing, which is removing one word at a time without losing the target message. Your Facebook ad isn't readable, which causes people just to scroll past it really quickly, or just like this, they're trying to showcase too much, which makes the design really small in the news feed, and then they have to get what? They have to get close to their screen and try to read it and break their neck and all that. Our next issue here, number 4, is the jewelry selection is wrong, where the message card or the jewelry doesn't match the recipient, Your ad targeting is wrong. You're targeting the recipient of the gift and not the person who's buying the gift. And then your ad messaging is wrong, aka you are not talking to the father, or you're not correctly expressing how the father can solve these needs for his daughter. And obviously it doesn't need to be about the dad. That's just the example we could use. It could be a gift from mom to husband, from dad, or from husband to wife, from grandpa to granddaughter, from son to mom. You know, there's a lot of different options here, but you always want to make sure that the person you're talking to in your ad is the target buyer. So whoever the gift is from, that's who you want to target and talk to in your ads, not the recipient. So in conclusion, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Don't make these 6 mistakes that I see people making time and time again. They'll just cause you pain and cause you to lose money. If you skip these, it's much easier to find success and get those dollar bills, y'all. And you can send me some of them in the mail just for fun. I won't even send anything in return. Maybe I'll send you a picture of my dog. I don't know. Who's to say, really? Just try it out and see what happens. But guys, thank you so much. Also, we do offer group coaching like I mentioned in the call. If you're interested in that, you can just go to skup.net, skup.net/call, and you can book a call with our team, and we'll see if we can help you take your jewelry business to the next level. That being said, guys, this is Devin Zander from Skup. Take it easy. Hope you enjoyed, and I will talk to you later. Have an excellent day.